do. Where is it? Good morning, beautiful people. How are you all today? Hope you are thriving, not just surviving. It is a gorgeous day here in North Carolina, a little bit gloomy, but that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you just have to have a little bit more of a gloomy day or a rainy day. Anyway, hello. I know that there's no one in here, but if you happen to click on the video, after the live stream has ended, guess what? You're my favorite. You're my favorite because not many people actually watch the live stream after the fact. But anyway, we're going to get into everything. Over the past 48 hours, past 2 days, I've been really thinking about the Epstein story. And one thing I really want to get across today, and you may have already come to this conclusion, the story keeps changing from Donald Trump. The story keeps changing. That's why I entitled the live, The Ever-Changing Story About Epstein from Trump, or so. Because here's the thing. If you initially come out with a certain narrative or story, don't you think you'd continue running with that instead of pivoting and saying it's about something else? Having different versions of the story makes it sound less reliable, thereby less trustworthy, which means that it's way more suspicious. I mean, I don't think I have to say that out loud. That's pretty much implied, but you know, a good chunk of Americans need a little extra TLC to think critically, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm amazing or perfect at it, but I just wanted to bring it all to light. So, good morning, everyone. Kate, Akicha, hello. Hello. So, I'm going to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm going to be talking about Donald Trump's comments in particular. Look, we can go to the evidence of the flight logs. We can go to his statements that he's made in the past. But the thing that is so crazy is, like, to me, I don't need a tremendous amount of evidence to really see how guilty Donald Trump is. Because, like, you can literally just use his statements. Like, why would you call it a privilege to go to that island? Why? He said, I never had the privilege of going to Epstein's Island. Why would you call it a privilege? Why would you call it that? Because, like, what that is then showing is that you're guilty. And again, this whole thing is really a catch-22. It's a heads I win, tails you lose for Trump that he entered himself into. So let's go through something that happened on July 29th. So, he was flying back from Scotland, I believe, on the 29th. Today is the 31st, I believe. So July 31st. But we're going to get into everything. Y'all, please make sure to send some likes. I know that yesterday the live was low attendance. I hope that it's not today. But make sure to send some likes, really share out the live. So let's break it all down here. Trump's comments on Epstein raised new questions about when and why they fell out. So on Air Force One, he recently answered some questions about Jeffrey Epstein. And so Trump on Tuesday went on to say that Epstein, quote, stole, in air quotes, stole young women who worked at the spa at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. He said, people were taken out of the spa, hired by him being Jeffrey Epstein. In other words, gone, Trump told the reporters on Air Force One. One of those workers, Trump said, was Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein accuser who said that she was recruited by his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, when Giuffre was an underage teenager working as a locker room attendant at Mar-a-Lago in 2000. That should say already what you need to know. Here's the thing. It's already a huge red flag if you own a club and you have underage people working as spa staff or locker room attendants, particularly young women. So for Donald Trump to just casually admit that already, to me, is showing at the best complicity, but also it shows incredible guilt. Because it's like, and then when he uses the language stole, you stole my employees, it's very much giving colonizer vibes. Because it's like, people are not your property. They might be your employees, but those people are not your property. They are people who work at your place to help you in achieving whatever goals that you got. So it's just very dehumanizing when you call humans property. I don't think that I should have to say that in 2025, but nevertheless, here we are. Oh, Ginger Monster, hello. Ginger Monster, hello. Okay, now we're starting to pick up. I don't know what it is, but my live streams yesterday and then today, still a little bit, have just been a little bit lower than normal. Are you all getting the live notifications? I'm just about to hit 20,000 subscribers, which is amazing. But like, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with that. I hope I'm not being shadow banned. Anyway, so Trouble Tuesday, again, went on to say that Epstein stole young women who worked at the spa at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. People were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone with the wind. Like Scarlett O'Hara said, may I have a carrot or not? I'm totally butchering that because she, she said, like, mark my words, I will never go hungry again or something like that. Well, like holding a carrot. Anyway, something like that. I have to watch Gone with the Wind again. But one of those workers was Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein accuser. But yet, Giuffre was literally working as a locker room attendant in Mar-a-Lago in 2000 as an underage teenage girl. And the reason why I was able to renew, yeah, I only get notifications from your Discord. Okay, gotcha. Shout out to Elisa, who runs my Discord. She's amazing. Alyssa, I should say. Alyssa. But that all being said, this is the thing. It's already a huge red flag that Donald Trump had staff, like locker room attendant staff, which were underage women. And the reason why this is so personal to me, the reason why I care so much about this right now is that, look, as an LGBTQ person, we're all, like, a lot of LGBTQ people are always accused of being nefarious or doing nefarious things to kids or grooming kids or trying to, like, I don't know, corrupt kids' minds by telling them they can be whatever they want to be and love whoever they want to love and identify however they want to identify, whatever. But, like, when you focus on LGBTQ people and us trying to empower and inspire and, like, provide the tools for freedom and expression for young kids, you going after those kinds of people, trying to do the empowerment, that's not going after the real, actual people who are a danger to kids. Oh, thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. I need to get on the Discord, okay? I help run the Discord too. Sorry about that, Kate. I love you. But the reason why I care so much about it is, like, all of these people are always pointing at LGBTQ people saying that we're nefarious to kids or that we're dangerous to kids. Meanwhile, if you're focusing on the wrong thing, you're actually only aiding and abetting the problem. It's the same way that, like, there's a lot of people who are very, very concerned with border security because fentanyl is coming into our country. That is a very real problem. But guess what? Fentanyl is not coming in from undocumented people. It's not coming in from Marco fleeing his home country because there's violence or fleeing his home country because his family's being recruited to work in a cartel. It's like Marco is not going to risk bringing in a substance like fentanyl into the country. Meanwhile, he's focused on trying to join the country and, like, not actually, be in danger and stuff like that. It's the same way. And so you're like, well, what's your point? Most all fentanyl is smuggled in by U.S. citizens at legal points of entry. So it's smuggled in particularly just by U.S. citizens from Canada or from the U.S.-Mexico border. But they're done at legal points of entry, like legal crossing points. Misdiagnosing the problem of fentanyl and all of that is very similar to this. With a lot of MAGA, or I should say a lot of, like, right-wing conservatives, these super right-wing conservatives pointing at LGBTQ people as being nefarious to kids, it doesn't actually help out the kids who are affected by this kind of stuff. What you're doing is when you focus so much on the wrong thing, you're actually aiding and abetting the corruption in the first place. You see what I mean? So misdiagnosing the problem does not help out the victims. You're still on the left. You still don't have a profile picture. So anyway, but just wanted to also share that, because misdiagnosing the problem only exacerbates it. So just throwing that out there. Trump says, I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I don't think so. Hold on. I need the hands. Hold on. It's not a real Trump impression without the hands, okay? Hold on. I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that she was one of the people, Trump first said when he was asked about Virginia Giuffre, before going on to say, yeah, he stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, none whatsoever. When you pivot the conversation, and this is the thing, when you pivot the conversation immediately to being about something that it wasn't about, like, there's not been any accusations of Virginia Giuffre, to my knowledge, of her saying that she was mistreated at Mar-a-Lago. But Donald Trump going out there and, like, boldly just saying that, it's like you bringing up something so that no one talks about it. It's like, no, you're only exacerbating it yourself. Now, according to Social Security records submitted by the court during Giuffre's defamation case against Ghislaine Maxwell, Giuffre was employed at Mar-a-Lago LLC in 2000 and earned $1,866.50 during that calendar year. Now, that's 2000. So I saw that number and I was like, wait, what? That's so low. Well, I mean, remember that was back in 2000, so it's a little bit different. But that all being said, this shows Donald Trump's either, at best, complicity with being adjacently connected to Jeffrey Epstein, his sex trafficking, or just aiding and abetting it. Because here's the thing. With all of this and how it has gone down, the timing and the timing is just really conspicuous. So year 2000, Epstein and Maxwell, they took Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago. Okay, that was 2000, according to court documents, testimony. And so Donald Trump is now saying that he had a fallout with Jeffrey Epstein over Epstein taking his staff, his property. He stole my people. But yet in 2002 is the infamous article where Trump was like, you know, Epstein is a terrific guy. It is said that he likes young women as much as I do, many of them particularly on the younger side, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean. And then in 2004, that's when the real rupture takes place, where it was actually over a piece of property. It was a piece of property that was in Palm Beach. And they were both bidding on it. Trump inevitably won the contract, and that's where the rift really began. That's where it really, like, kind of officially took place. So here's the thing. With Donald Trump, it's the timing. He's admitted to himself, like, he can't get his story straight. That's the biggest thing I want to point out. So he said that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep. An admission in there is that he knew Jeffrey Epstein, so obviously, and that they were friends. He said he kicked him out for being a creep. Now he's changed his tune, saying that he kicked him out because he stole staff. Underage women staff working at Trump's Mar-a-Lago spa. You're not mishearing me. Virginia Giuffre, along with other women, were underage staff at Mar-a-Lago's spa. So, like, Trump also admitting that is like, okay, so are you complicit or are you actively aiding and abetting it? And see, this is what gets to, like, the catch-22. One commenter really pointed this out, and I just wanted to share because they put my thoughts into words pretty eloquently. So it's like, it's a catch-22. If he admits it was just for poaching employees, he looks petty relative to sex trafficking. If he says the falling out was over sex trafficking his employees, he admits he knew his friend was a sex trafficker, and that was okay for years. So, conclusion, he knew for years, he distanced himself only when he thought he might get hurt reputably or in trouble. Now, part of that you could say is speculation, sure. Though also, it is, when you think about it, it's like he can't get his narrative straight around what actually happened with Epstein. And it only gets worse when he was recently asked about it, because he said it was, hold on. Because he also said that he never had the privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's island. Here's the thing. If this was Biden, there would not need to be any other conversation, because the right wing would immediately already have enough evidence that they need to say we should lock up Biden for this. Trust me, they would. You know it. You know it, that they wouldn't need any other further evidence or explanations. But because there is this idea and twisted narrative that we have to overprove things to the right wing and they still don't believe them, that we're in this predicament. And while we're on that topic, let me also share something. We have a lot of people in here, and I love all of you. Please make sure to send some likes. I want to be very clear about something, because some people might not actually know this very much. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh my God, well, what about Biden? What about Biden? What about Biden? Okay, let me clear this up once and for all. Y'all, please make sure to send some likes. Also, for people in the chat here, if you're nasty, if you're rude, if you do name calling, if you do caps, you will be booted, okay? So be a nice person, don't be an asshole. Just saying, okay? Don't be an asshole. The Jeffrey Epstein files span multiple different branches of government. So for simplicity, there are 3 branches, kind of like 4 branches, the bureaucracy being the unofficial 4th branch, but there's 3 branches of government. There's the legislative, that's Congress, the Senate, the House, yada yada. I put that as in blue. There's the judiciary, which is red here, and then there's the executive, which I put in orange. Orange for Trump. I don't know if I did that subconsciously, but I just realized I did that now. Point is, the Epstein files span multiple different agencies. So there are many different aspects of the Epstein files. There are grand jury files for Ghislaine Maxwell, Virginia Giuffre, stuff like that. There are sealed court documents. Those are part of the Epstein files that the judiciary, the courts, have discretion over, control over. They're the ones that review those files. Then, another part of the Epstein files includes the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That's what DOJ and FBI stand for. So when you say the Epstein files, it could be judicial documents or executive documents. Now, Congress does not have any discretion whatsoever over the release of the files. But what they can do is they can vote on resolutions to push for the disclosure of the Epstein files, which is what a subcommittee in the House Oversight Committee actually did recently. So I just want to put all of that out there. Now, for simplicity reasons, I want to talk about this. Can the Trump administration, Department of Justice and FBI, release the Epstein files? The answer is yes. They can release certain Jeffrey Epstein related files that are not sealed court documents. Now, of course, there's all of these MAGA people that are like, well, what about Biden? What about Biden? I'm a journalist. I don't shy away from the truth. Could the Biden administration, DOJ, and FBI have released the Epstein files, the ones that were not sealed court documents? Yes. Yes, they could have. If you have a critique for the Biden administration saying, well, why didn't they release them, the ones that they had control over? That's a fair criticism. Period. End of story. I'm not going to run away from it. Guess what? And I'm a registered Democrat, honey. I'm not going to run away from it. No Democrat is going to deny that Biden didn't have the authority to do that. But you ask yourself, well, why didn't Biden do it? Was he trying to cover up for them? That's for you to decide. But I also want to point out that the Ghislaine Maxwell trial was going on that he, like, Jeffrey Epstein is dead in 2019, and the trial was going on. Ghislaine Maxwell sentenced to years in prison. So put that in there. It's like the files kind of became not as like necessary to be disclosed because you still had some of the stuff going on with the judiciary, but then you had the main person, Jeffrey Epstein, was dead. So there was like this idea of, oh, well, it's not as politically salient. My speculation, which you can disagree, the reason why the Biden administration didn't push for it is because it wasn't as talked about in the news. It wasn't as big of a thing as it is now. And so they didn't feel the public pressure to disclose it. But going to the Trump administration, here's the thing. You all remember the July 6th memo? This, in my speculation, in my opinion, in my analysis, you don't have to agree. The reason why there is way more accountability on the Trump administration to release the files is because of two things. Number one, the July 6th memo. The July 6th memo from the DOJ and the FBI, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, basically trying to say, yeah, we don't need to talk about the Epstein Files anymore. It's a closed case. We don't need to talk about it. Remember that memo that they put out saying that there was no Epstein client list after Pam Bondi literally said it was on her desk then to review? So there was that, but then also Republicans Donald Trump ran on. Part of his campaign was always focused on Epstein himself. Also, talking about that as an issue. And credit where credit is due. There you go. But then to immediately get in office and completely swap your positions, going from we need to release them to then we're going to hide them. Meanwhile, the Democrats are like just sitting over there being quiet. It shows the hypocrisy at its finest. Donald Trump ran on trying to disclose the Jeffrey Epstein files. Then when he gets in office, decides to not talk about it, to not care about it, to not want to do something about it. That's why there's a lot more push for Trump to disclose them now. Also, the judiciary has now been held under a little bit more accountability because partially during the Biden administration, there was some unsealing of judicial documents. So for people who are like, oh, well, why didn't Biden release them? Well, Biden didn't release them because it wasn't as politically salient at that time, because Jeffrey Epstein was dead in 2019. I'm not going to get into the controversy around all of that. I'm not sure what to believe. I don't have all the facts on that, in his death, whatever. Jeffrey Epstein dead 2019. Ghislaine Maxwell prosecuted in prison. It seemed kind of like a much more cold case. Plus, you had a lot of other stuff happening in the United States. So with the consequences of, I guess, death being on Jeffrey Epstein and the consequences of imprisonment for Ghislaine Maxwell, it seemed a little bit more like a closed case. The reason why there's so many people talking about Epstein now is because the Trump administration ran on disclosing the files. Then when they got in, immediately did a complete reversal and then saying, yeah, well, we don't need to. In fact, let's just close the case. When you're actively doing that kind of stuff to cover up your actions after you were the one that created the whole, like, Trump ran on, brought to the attention everything with Jeffrey Epstein. Did he only think it was going to hurt him? So I hope that explanation kind of clears some stuff up, because for there's all these people that are like, well, what about Biden? Biden could have done it. Biden could have done his part to release part of it, but didn't because it wasn't as politically salient. Whereas now, the Trump administration's actively trying to cover it up. They ran on it, got elected, immediately swapped positions in office, and then have been literally spitting on their supporters. If that doesn't show guilt, I don't know what does. I don't know what does. And also, if you're one of these people who has the inability to listen and you just rage type in the chat, I'm so sorry that you feel like you can't process the nuance here. Seriously, like, you don't have to agree with my opinions, but let me just go into some of the recent facts that we know of. So, Donald Trump literally said that he didn't have the privilege. He used the word privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's island. Yes, he said the word privilege. Hold on just a second. Yep. Ah. Let me not scroll out of the live stream, bro. I prepare so much for these live streams that it's actually crazy how much I do. Donald Trump literally said that he did not have the privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I don't know if... I don't know how you're going to try to spin that to, like, not showing guilt. So he was, like, fuming at his reporters and said that he never had the privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's infamous island. While taking questions alongside British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, in Scotland, Trump was asked about the Epstein case and then said, "And by the way, I never went to the island. Bill Clinton went there, supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there." Now, here's the thing. Regardless, can we all agree that regardless of someone's political affiliation, if there's evidence to show that they were connected with Jeffrey Epstein, that they must be prosecuted and held accountable? Period. End of story. That does not need to be up for debate. Regardless of people's political affiliation, I think that all Americans, hopefully, can agree that if there is evidence that people have been connected to Jeffrey Epstein, that they should be held accountable. I don't care if it is a former president like Bill Clinton or the current president, Donald Trump. For heaven's sakes, put them in a cell together, I guess. I love all of these rage commenters that have nothing substantive to say other than making fun of my looks or trying to, like, name call me. Those are probably the same people that claim that they're alpha males. They're like, "Yeah, I'm an alpha male, bro." It's like you're literally harassing a nice little gay guy on the internet just trying to inform you and give you empathy and critical thinking within politics. And you think that it's somehow an own when you're screaming into the chat trying to get his attention. I mean, I'm flattered that you have a crush on me. It's funny. It's funny. But to me, when I'm looking at this, Donald Trump saying that he never had the privilege of going to Epstein's island, just imagine for a second if Biden had said that. Just imagine if Biden had said that. Guess what? I would still have the same reaction. You know, I talk a lot about political psychology. Where if you hear something from one person that has a D or an R next to their name, sometimes we're motivated to think or reason or rationalize around the wording of something because there is this preconceived notion. Are they in my coalition? Are they on my team? Are they a part of my group? Or are they my enemy? Are they my opposition? Are they my out group? So, like, ask yourself, if a person, let's call them Dave. If Dave said that he never had the privilege of going to Epstein's island, I hope that we would all react like, "Ew, that's gross. That's weird, creepy. Why are you using it as privilege to refer to a pedophile island?" Now, if a Democrat says that, a lot of people on the right are going to be like, "Look, that's awful, that's bad, that's disgusting." Look, in my view, they're right. They're right. But what's interesting is you might have some people that try to rationalize around it because, oh, well, that's a part of my party. But now let's go to the current reality. That's what Donald Trump says. So Donald Trump is saying, "I never had the privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I never had the privilege." And you have all these people, rightfully so, Democrats being like, "Yeah, that's really, really creepy and crazy and disgusting." I would hope that everyone comes to the same conclusion. Someone is saying that it's sarcasm. Okay, this is the thing. This is the thing. Every single time Donald Trump says something that you like, you're like, oh yeah, he's strong. Oh yeah, he tells it as it is. He's a maverick. He's a patriot. Oh yeah, anything that you view as it could be a weakness. Oh, he's just joking, guys. Oh my gosh, obviously he's being facetious. Obviously he's being over the top. Obviously he's trying to get liberal tears. Shut the fuck up. Here's the thing. You know that you're acting as a political partisan hack. Here's the thing. Regardless of it, apply your logic equally. Apply your logic equally. Apply it equally. Y'all, if you're enjoying the live stream, please make sure to smash that subscribe button, but also follow. Again, make sure that you apply your logic and reasoning equally. Because if you don't, that shows that you're just a cog in the machine of like a political party. Just saying. And here's the thing. For those people who might not know me, my name is Scott. I'm a former political organizer. I now work in the corporate world because I needed health insurance. But let me just unequivocally say, don't trust politicians, y'all. Don't trust politician. Oh, thanks, Lance. I got my little thing here. But don't trust politicians. Don't worship politicians. No, just seriously, don't trust politicians. They don't work for you. Or you don't work for them. They work for you. Sorry. Like, don't trust politicians. I was scrolling on Truth Social looking to see if Donald Trump had responded to any of these, like, any of the stuff about Jeffrey Epstein. And there was this one person, I wish I had taken a screenshot and shown y'all. And it was this one person who created this meme that said, I still trust President Trump. That wording is very conspicuous. In there is an inherent admission. When you say, I still trust him. It's like, when you say that you still trust something, it means that for the sake of convenience, you're doubling down because it's easier to double down on something than it is to shift positions or think critically. You see what I mean? Do you guys not understand he's a felon? Right, exactly. But like, that all being said, it's fascinating. It's fascinating seeing that reasoning. Real question, why do some gay people talk like this? Oh my God. Y'all have nothing substantive to say. You have nothing substantive to say. Like, you know what's so funny? Gay people don't go up to straight people and say, why do you talk like that? Like, notice how if you were to say that to a different group of people, let's say you were to say that to a group of Hispanic people or Black people or Asian people, it'd be offensive. Why do you not think it would be offensive to gay people? It also shows that you have nothing else to say. That does not pertain to the conversation whatsoever. Yet, that's the only thing you want to talk about. Why? Because my lives do hard-hitting journalism where I'm like talking about XYZ and bringing up examples, and you have nothing else substantive to say. Nothing. It's humiliating for you. Like, do you... I have to go here in a minute, but like, it's so funny that so many people think that I fake my voice on the internet. Oh, I'm sorry, I faked my voice on the internet for attention. That's what I do. Oh, sweetheart. This is when I say, as a southern little gay guy, bless your heart. Bless your heart. Anyway, I have to get going because I need to get to work. I love all of you so much. If you appreciate my live streams, then please smash that subscribe button. It means a lot. The live streams are posted after the fact. But in a nutshell, just want to point out that Donald Trump's whole Epstein story narrative keeps changing. It was, he was a creep. Then it turned into, he stole staff at Mar-a-Lago. He stole my staff. He took Virginia Giuffre out of the spa, an underage woman out of the spa, and then recruited her. He didn't say that directly, but that's basically what he had mentioned. So he can't keep his story straight. If I don't, and then he says he never had the privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island. If that doesn't show guilt, then I don't know what will. Anyway, I love all of you. I appreciate every single one of you. If this was your first time in here, I love all of you. Even if you don't like me, I'm not here to spread hate. I hope that people learn stuff from my live streams. You don't have to agree with my opinions. You don't have to agree with my analysis. But I just want to make sure that I'm providing empathy and critical thinking for everyone in politics. Politics doesn't have to be crazy like this, but yet it is in this day and age. Anyway, I have to get to work. I love all of you. Shout out to my amazing moderators in here. Kate, Akicha, Joanna Tech, Elisa, Ellie, Cherie. I could not do any of this without you all. Jenny, Cantisa, y'all are incredible. So anyway, just remember that you are beautiful. Oh, Bagel, love you! You are valid. Wait, hold on. Just remember that you are beautiful. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever, 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 ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye!